Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. So we're going to finish up. We've got two more books. It's Thursday. So far we have read The Solar System. We have read Asteroids. Yesterday we read Astronauts, one of Mrs. Nielsen's favorites. If you're in my preschool, kindergarten, first or second grade classes, today we read Space Shuttles. And so today we're going to read our book, da-dun, 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 NASA. But before we do, I want to talk about something. So at the beginning of the week, I told you about this wonderful thing called the supermoon. And we can go outside and see it tonight. About 7:55 is our sunset. So we try to take pictures of it, and it's not going to look real good on here. I'm going to get as close as I can. No, it just looks like a big round ball, doesn't it? So my daughter, Erin, helped me capture. Oh, that's not so bad. That's better. So you could kind of see the craters, those dark spots on it. So it was really cool. Beautiful moon last night. This is the last time that we are going to see a supermoon until next year, believe it or not. It won't come around again until April of 2021. So got to get outside and see it tonight, okay? So the easiest time, it says, to view it is around sunset. Head outside and look in the opposite direction of the sun to see the moonrise. If the clouds foil your plans and you're stuck inside, you can turn online onto a virtual telescope page. The only problem is it's on Rome, Italy's time, so we would have had to have been online at 11:36, and I forgot about it. The May moon, which is what this is, seems to have earned its flower nickname, because this is a flower supermoon, as an ode to spring in the northern hemisphere. This is when our flowers are coming up. NASA said the moniker, which is another fancy name for like nickname or name, traces back to the Maine Farmer's Almanac in the 1930s. It says you'll want to drink up the view while you can. The next full supermoon won't come around until late April 2021. We're going to have to wait an entire year to see another super moon. Now, if you ask me what a supermoon is, well, I read about them last night and I don't remember today. So, I don't remember. Sometimes, boys and girls, things go in and out of my brain faster than water down a drain. So here, let's look at our book. We've got Exploring Space, which is our series. And this is NASA, which is the title of our book. Do you know what NASA is? NASA is very important to our government. We'll find out right now what it is about. So, and this is by Derek Zobel. Remember, I think we've had him as an author before, but he consulted with the same person down here, this Dwayne Kwan. Here's our table of contents that we find in the front or the back of the book. I hope you said front. What is NASA is on page 4. The space race is on page 8. Unmanned missions is on 10. Manned missions is on 18. NASA Today is 19. You say, Mrs. Nielsen, I don't understand any of that. That's okay, because we're going to read about it. Our other nonfiction features are right here. We have our glossary, our to learn more, and our index. Now, do we find those at the front of the book or the back of the book? I hope you said back. Then you're right. Let's look. NASA. Are you ready? So, there, look at that. Have you ever seen that logo before? I bet you have. So it says NASA is part of the United States government. NASA stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration. NASA is in charge of space exploration. It was founded in 1958. Look at that fancy suit. 1958. It's 9 years older than Mrs. Nielsen. Most people, or many people, work at NASA. Engineers, scientists, and astronauts work together to explore space. NASA is based in Washington, D.C. Most spacecraft launch from Cape Canaveral, Florida. And we talked about this. This is the Space Shuttle. And here it's got these two rocket boosters. Those are the things that are shooting it up into space. And this big orange thing, that's fuel too, to help it get out. And then it goes around the Earth. I think it goes around the Earth, we said this morning, 90 minutes it takes for it to go all the way around. So it moves very fast. In 1957, the Soviet Union, who we didn't like, launched a satellite called Sputnik 1. This made Americans want to the United States to explore space too. See? So that was the Soviet Union's first satellite. So then we came up with this, which is called Explorer. The United States launched Explorer 1 in 1958, a year later. Soon after, NASA formed. That was the start of the space race. So now you've got all these countries, and they're all trying to get into space faster than the other one. NASA has launched many space probes. You see that? The Surveyor program sent space probes to the moon to study its surface. It also let NASA practice moon landings. So a probe, so it's going up there and it's kind of looking around and checking things out, surveying the land. We also talk about surveyors. This is the Mariner program. Sent space probes into space to study planets. Mariner 2 became the first space probe to fly by another planet. It passed Venus in 1962. Still before Mrs. Nielsen's time. Look at that. So that went past Venus, which is that great big star in the sky that you can see. Mariner 4 flew past Mars, the red planet, in 1965. It sent back photos of the red, rocky surface. Now, there are no people in these space probes. These are just machines. We call those unmanned because there's no man in them. NASA sent Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 into space to study the outer planets. Remember, those were those gaseous planets? Voyager 1 took photos of Jupiter and Saturn, and Voyager 2 explored Uranus and Neptune. Did you know that we've been out in space exploring that much? You probably did. You're pretty smart. NASA has landed probes on planets. 3 rovers have landed on Mars. So there is the rover. I know you guys have seen pictures of these, and I know some of the boys have and girls have put together like Legos that look like this. Look at those great big all-terrain wheels, and all this is all information, instruments to take in the weather and the conditions. Scientists and engineers control the rovers from Earth. So kind of like you guys like to play with your video games. It's kind of like the same thing. They're controlling the rovers and checking out this new space. NASA created the Apollo program in 1961. Its goal was to land a man on the moon. It did this in 1969. And there we have an astronaut standing on the moon. NASA launched the Hubble telescope. Remember we were talking about telescopes? In 1990, it takes incredible images of space objects. And there it is, the Hubble Space Telescope. Now, I'm pretty sure that they just launched another bigger telescope. I'm not sure, not 100%. I can't tell you the name of it or anything, but I think I remember hearing or seeing something about it. NASA uses space shuttles, now that's what we've been talking about, to perform space missions. Space shuttles can dock with the International Space Station, and there it is. We are going to do a lot of talking about that tomorrow. Oh, I just ruined the surprise. NASA works with other countries on this space station. They do experiments to learn more about space. So, how many of you would want to become an astronaut and live on the International Space Station? That could be exciting. I know there's an astronaut, I think his name is Mark Kelly. It's either him or his brother. They're twins. And one of them stayed up in space for like a whole year. Yes. And we just had the first women astronauts that went out into the space together while they were on the International Space Station. It was a very big deal. Oh, And we're at the end of the book already. So here's our glossary with our words to know. Here's if you want to learn more and see more about different books at the library. And then we have our web, and I'll put this is the factsurfer.com again, and we'll go to NASA. Oh, and the index. How could we forget about that? So if we want to find the International Space Station, there it is on pages 20 and 21. So I already let the cat out of the bag, if you will. Tomorrow we are going to study. Oh, there it is. Just looked at it. We are going to study space stations. And I'll have some cool pictures for you tomorrow. Okay, everybody. I'll see you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. Love ya. Bye. Whoops, it didn't.